let's talk about our final topic here. The big one. Everybody's touched upon it. Is Marvel films, are they considered cinema? This is so stupid.
Oddly enough, I looked up cinema, and apparently people start using it more often as early as 2000 because it was on a downwards trend until more recently. So apparently people love using cinema even though they don't really know what it means.
Let's be clear. If a film is in theater, presented in cinemas, it is cinema. What more do you need to... I don't get what...
See, that's to explain it to people that aren't film students.
Just...
Let's be honest, that's the only people... Like, well, the film students started, they're like, oh, it's cinema. Cinema's different than a movie. Like, movies popcorn, cinemas are. It's just like...
Okay, like, let's be real about this one. Martin Scorsese said that at a time where nobody was talking about his movie other than cinema people, you know? So... he goes, well, what can I attack to make the most amount of people talk about me? Well, why
I
not
don't even think it was that. It was just more of someone just asking about it. And he was like, yeah, no. And it's just, a month and a half later, here we are. People are still talking about it.
This is the exact definition of what cinema is. It's a noun, mainly British. And a theater...
I should know better.
A theater where movies are shown for public entertainment. A movie theater.
Right.
That is what cinema is.
But now people have evolved it to cinema is something where if one explosion happens, unless it's a car being blown up by a gangster, apparently it's not cinema anymore. Like what?
If it hasn't got an Italian stereotype in it, it's
not cinema, apparently.
So, the production of movies as an art or in the industry, that is also another definition of what cinema is.
Again,
like people, everything that... Okay, Medea's funeral for the 18th time is
there's exceptions
cinema.
to the rule. There's exceptions.
To me, it seems like some people are trying to make cinema a genre of movies that's different from other ones.
Of course they are. Yeah. It's always been like that. That's why you have like the Oscars and the awards. That's why they don't go for certain movies at
But wait a second, didn't Black Panther win 3 Oscars?
Oh.
Again, exceptions prove the rule.
Cinema, that's cinema to me. I mean. Yo, cinematic masterpiece, Suicide Squad got that Oscar.
Yeah,
what you want now? I mean, I don't get it.
It's just a dumb argument. It's just dumb.
It's so stupid. Like, look, it's cinema, right? Now, let's talk about the fact that, like, earlier this year, everybody was saying Netflix doesn't produce cinema because they're movies that don't go to theaters. So technically then, even if it has a limited theater release, is it not considered cinema? You can't say one isn't and one is, when the other one is literally less cinema because it's being Netflix exclusive. Like, again, everybody's getting caught up in like this stupid argument, and when they try to argue one way, they're ignoring the other thing they said like 3 minutes ago. I just don't...
I mean, that's just the internet for everything.
Yeah, it is true. It is true.
It's just... I'm just tired of it. It's been a month and a half now. We don't need to carry on.
No, and...
people are going to keep talking to him because they get clicks and everything, so...
That's really what it is. And, I guess, everybody does have their own preferences to what cinema means, I guess, or what movies they like. Like, I actually did my top... 40 films of all time. Like, I lined them all up, and I think 38 of them were 80s and 90s films. Like, you got The Thing, The Shining, and all that. I didn't have a single modern film on there other than Hereditary.
You got like your typical film student list, like it's old, so it's better.
That's what I felt like. Like, I was like, wow, I'm kind of snobby when it comes to this. And I was like, you know what? No, because I actually enjoy pretty much all films. Like, for the love of God, I love X-Men Origins Wolverine, and that is the biggest abomination probably in the X-Men franchise, other than Dark Phoenix. It's actually better than that. So it's like, there's just something to be said about, people's preferences and what they like, what they don't like. But it's like, don't dismiss something you don't like as not cinema just because you don't feel it. It's like, just go with it, like, not everybody likes the same pretentious garbage other people like. Not everybody likes the boom explosions that other people do, it's...
So it all stems from calling movies art. Like the art world's always been snobby. There's always been like the pretentiousness of like, oh, that's not art. This is art. It's like, well, it's not down to you. Like, no single person is to decide what that definition is.
Mm-hmm.
And like the second you say the movies are art, it's just like, well, you can't tell someone else it's not art now. Like,
right,
you're done.
Well,
and obviously you get the pretentious people, and it's like, oh no, this one's better than this.
Well, you sit there, and if you go to an art gallery, like, there's people, the moment you look at actually in Daredevil and how Fisk looks at that artwork, it tells an entire story. And to me, it's like, it's a blank white canvas. They didn't even touch it with anything.
Yep.
And like, that's what people are comparing it to. And it's like, yes, it is art. And everybody has different opinions on art. Just because I like something and say Armin doesn't mean he's wrong. He just has a different opinion.
I mean, there's people out there in like these older Hollywood guys that when they get interviewed, they tell you that video games aren't art. And I'm just like, dude, it's sometimes hundreds upon hundreds of people working on this to make this meticulously crafted story that's clearly art, but it's a different medium. And, you know, as many people know, if you follow, like, Hollywood history and even video games, there is films out there that literally are lost to time. We almost lost Nosferatu to what was happening in Germany in World War II. Look that story up and how one copy saved that film. Like, and are you to tell me, like, that some of that's not art? Like, you know, it's like, it's so subjective. And, like, Marvel gets thrown under the bus because, let's be real, they're the biggest thing in Hollywood ever. So,
well, here's the thing as well. People were saying that Scorsese is talking about Marvel directly.
Oh, he's talking about everything.
Exactly. Like, you know, he's not gonna be like, oh yeah, Suicide Squad's high art because it's DC and not Marvel.
Yeah.
That's just, people latch into that argument. They're just horrifically stupid. That's just me.
He's using that argument that it's like
it's the parents with Nintendo. Everything was Nintendo in the 90s. Everything was PlayStation in 2000s. Like he doesn't know the difference.
My mom calls everything I play on, everything our kid has. She's like, "Gosh, just playing on the PlayStation." I'm like, "Oh my god, that's a laptop. That's not whatever. Just a PlayStation, sure, okay."
Yeah, mind you, she did evolve though, because everything used to be a Nintendo.
Yeah, so it's like, it's that type of argument. Now, of course, and what I don't get is like people are like, well, they should have integrity for art and do this and all these releases. I'm just like, look, the studios run their studios how they do, and that's just kind of how it's going to go. So, art subjective to you, but by definition, is Marvel cinema? Yes. So, like,
technically,
it's a movie.
Technically, Marvel is a cinematic experience because the cinema is what you sit down in and watch it in.
It's also called...
No, it's a Marvel Attic universe. That's what it is.
It is at this point.